we go. Hey, you guys. It is my first time going live on YouTube on my cell phone. I did this last week and video quality was not great with the webcam on my laptop. So we're going to try it this week on my cell phone. And it was not as easy as I thought it was going to be getting it all set up, but we are here and I'm so excited. I'm Dr. Karen Thomas. For those of you who haven't tuned in before, so nice to meet you. So glad you're here. And I'm a prior military physical therapist. I am an Air Force veteran, and my mission is to help frontline professionals overcome frontline pain. So in this video, this live session, we're going to go over a couple of my favorite yoga moves to really help combat low back pain. And those specific moves are Pigeon Pose and also Figure-4 stretch. And I'm pairing these together because let's say we workshop our way through the Pigeon Pose and you're just not feeling it. Maybe it bothers your neck. It bothers my neck. Sometimes I've got a history of neck stuff and sometimes I just don't tolerate Pigeon Pose very well, even with modifications. So let's say you go through Pigeon Pose and you're like, nope, this one isn't for me. I'll show you a very similar stretch, just in a more supported position. And that is the next one that we'll do, Figure-4, lying on your back. You're just so much more supported, and yeah, you should feel way less pain. It's less intense, but yet you're still stretching the low back and the back of the hip out. So especially if you've got low back pain, if you've got pain in the back of your hip, that posterior aspect, or the buttock, these two poses are going to be great for you, more than likely. So let's see, what will you need? You'll want to have your yoga mat out as we workshop our way through this. And again, you know, this is a workshop, so this is not a yoga class, and not a yoga routine. We're not doing anything like that. I'm going to take you through these two poses, these two stretches, and I just, by the end of this, want you to be comfortable in performing these two stretches. It's as simple as that. I'm going to show you some ways that you can modify them. I feel like I'm a great one to teach this tonight because it was basically like a weightlifting continuing education course over the weekend in Colorado, and I am so sore today. Plus I lifted earlier, but like today I did. So I'm a little sore, so I feel like I'm a good one to at least like modify these stretches for you tonight. If you're sore as well, we're on the same page. Let's get through this together. So as we workshop our way through these poses, you'll want to be performing them on something comfortable. If you don't have a yoga mat, no worries. A beach towel. You can do these on a carpeted surface. You can do these in bed, actually, you know, if you have nothing else and you just want to be comfortable. We want to protect our joints, so doing these on a hardwood floor is not ideal. You want to have a pillow for the Figure-4 stretch that we'll do second. And I would have a couple, you know, if you've got yoga blocks, you know, break them out. You don't probably need two of them, just one is fine. I love having blocks nearby anytime I'm doing any kind of stretching, especially if I'm super sore, because they just allow for you and your body to be in such a more supported position. Which allows us to more comfortably and oftentimes more deeply stretch the muscles that need to be stretched as we work through our recovery. So if you don't have yoga blocks, no worries. You can maybe set up next to a couch or a chair that you can use for support. Maybe just get an extra pillow or two, that'd be fine. So once you have all of your things, I'll give you like a little bit of time to get those things. We're gonna start on hands and knees on the mat, okay? All right, let's see how this goes tonight. Who else is sore? Also, if anyone has any questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat, and we'll see at the very end of all of this if anyone had any questions. I'll get to as many as I can, and then we'll wrap things up, okay? All right, this should be short and sweet and not terribly painful. All right. So for Pigeon Pose, we'll start on hands and knees, and let's just have your extra pillows or your yoga blocks close by, because we'll definitely be using them. Let's start by stretching out, of course, the low back, but also the back of the right hip. So to do that, you're just going to bring your right knee up towards the top of the mat. So it's going to be brought forward like so. Your lower leg, you're just going to turn it. I guess that would be depending on which way you're orienting. You're going to turn it towards the opposite leg. So obviously turning it out off the mat would be very painful, I would think. So you're just bringing the knee up and you're turning that leg up towards the opposite leg or the opposite arm. Something I often get asked is, should this lower leg right here that you've turned upward, should that be completely, horizontal or perpendicular to your body? And the answer is no, it definitely doesn't need to be. But, once you turn it up, you should feel some increased tension on the back of the buttock. That is normal. Now, if you've done that and already you're like, oh my gosh, my leg is going numb, or it's just really uncomfortable, just reduce some of that turn. So just to give you another idea of kind of what's happening here so you can see a little better, I'll bring my left knee up. And what I'm meaning here is I'm turning that leg up a little bit like that. So it does not need to come all the way up to be horizontal or perpendicular with your torso, not at all. Just a little bit of a turning up there so that you feel some increased tension on the back of your right hip. And then you're just gonna relax your left leg backwards a little as you begin to bring your chest down to the mat. Now, for those of us who may have some mobility or flexibility restrictions, or maybe you're just really sore tonight, like myself, we're gonna start to bring in our pillows or our blocks and make this a little bit more comfortable so we can get more out of it. So what I like to do with blocks when I'm doing pigeon pose, when I'm really stiff or sore, is I'll bring them in and put them here on the just in front of me, and I'm gonna come down onto my forearms like so. Now maybe you're like, oh my gosh, Dr. Karen, I don't need those blocks, get them out of here, no pillows needed. And you can bring yourself all the way down to the mat. Amazing, try that out. Now again, if you get all the way down here, let's say you're like, yeah, I'm not using those blocks, get them out of here. And you're all the way down relaxing and your leg is going numb, I would take some tension off and I would bring yourself away from the ground. I would prop yourself up on some blocks because we don't want our legs to go numb, right? No numbness or tingling. That's usually a sign that either blood flow is getting cut off or we're putting too much stress and pressure on a nerve or two or three. You've got your sciatic nerve that runs down the back of the hip and into the leg, and if you're going numb or tingly, we're just more than likely putting too much stress on that nerve. So let's just take some stress off, and you can, even if you're in this position and you're like, my leg's going numb, or this just isn't really comfortable, or my hip just feels tight, and you're not feeling a good stretch here on the back of the buttock, the back of the hip, you can kind of come up like so. You can allow yourself to be raised up on the blocks like so. You can push your pillows or blocks out of the way and just kind of relax like this. Honestly, sometimes I'm in yoga class and I'm starting like this. My goal by the end of the class is often to try to get down to where I'm relaxed fully on the ground. My chest is as far down to the ground as it can get. But in the beginning, sometimes honestly, like this is where we're starting, and that's okay. We don't want to push our bodies to the point of, we're stretching and then we're in pain afterwards. We want to meet our body where it's at and then work to improve any restrictions that we have. So we're on the same team, our bodies and us, right? So I think for me tonight, my most comfortable position is lowered down onto the blocks. One extra thing I do want to point out with this pose is, I'm going to come up to show you this. So the front of your pelvis, here's the pelvis. On the front, you've got these two bony notches. You want those notches to be looking down at the ground. So if I'm in this pigeon pose position and I'm lowering myself down, I want my pelvis, we can think of those two bony notches, to be facing the ground. You don't want to be rotated up. This is a a pretty common fault, or just it's a restriction, you know, you're tight or you're trying to make it happen. We don't want to be rotated up though, because that can put undue abnormal stress on the low back, and you can be a little bit more sore when you're done with this, which we don't want, right? But then also you're not getting a nice deep stretch in the muscles across the hip when you're rotated. So just make sure as much as you can, just try to have your pelvis facing down. You could also think of it as like your belly button. You want your belly button facing down towards the ground. And sometimes you just have to kind of adjust a little bit, and you'll be like, oh, there's that deep stretch. That's what she's talking about. So we've been in that position for a little bit. So now let's try it on the other side. It's always fun to try the other side, not just because we want to stretch both sides, but to see, you know, how symmetrical or asymmetrical am I? You know, am I quite a bit more tight or loose on one side or the other? And that's important to know, so we can work on some of those asymmetries. So let's see. So I've got my left knee up now. I've turned my leg upward. I think that's about as much as we're going to get there. I'm going to keep my blocks nice and handy because I can already tell that I'm going to need them tonight. And then I'm just going to come down onto my forearms, and I'm going to try to adjust my pelvis so it's looking down at the ground. I'm going to adjust my belly button. It's like, okay, belly button's looking down at the ground as well. And, you know, that back leg is just relaxed back there, hanging out. If you're able to come all the way down to the ground, amazing. And once you're down there too, let's say you don't have blocks or pillows, you can just, you know, relax your forehead on your hands. Just overlap your hands and relax your forehead down on your hands. This is a great stretch to just relax in for multiple minutes, you know, 2-3+ minutes, and you can sink deeper into it. Maybe you're up on blocks or pillows for 1 minute, and then maybe the next minute you're like, okay, I'm gonna try coming down a little more, and you're down on your forearms on the ground for another minute, and then maybe minute 3 you try to relax down onto your hands like so. So you can make this a nice progressive stretch. Yeah, I think those are the big key points of Pigeon Pose that I wanted to point out for you. And let's go ahead and take a breath in as we come up and relax out of that. That's how I like to get out of it, is I'll come up here and then I'll just kind of roll over. Roll over onto the booty. Okay, so let's say you tried that and you were like, oh, that wasn't bad, but what else have you got? You know, maybe you weren't a huge fan of it. Maybe you were just really feeling it, wasn't feeling good. Let me show you another way you can stretch, especially the back of the hip out. Those muscles that run around the sciatic nerve that often get tight and can lead to more low back pain. This next stretch is a great way to stretch those muscles out in a much more supportive position than pigeon. So you'll just need your pillow. So put your pillow back there, and then you're gonna lie down face up. Let's see here. All right. And a lot of us have done this. If you've served in the military, you've probably done this in some of your PT sessions. I know when I used to be in, this was kind of a staple post-run stretch that a lot of us love doing. And I've used this with a lot of patients over the years. And all you're gonna do, let's stretch the right hip first. You're gonna take your right foot and put it on your left knee. And there's a couple ways that you can do this. The less intense way is you're going to pick up this top leg and pull it up towards your chest. And you're picking it up at the knee, and then you can lift at the ankle. So as you pull this leg up towards your chest, try to keep this lower leg as perpendicular as possible to your chest. So you don't want to just bring your knee up, right? And your foot's hanging out way down low. Try to bring it up to where it's perpendicular. So that lower leg nice and straight horizontally across the body. And you should feel a nice stretch in the back of your right hip. And then what I'd like you to do, if you want to intensify it a little bit, is just allow that leg to fall to the left just a little bit. And you shouldn't need to really let it fall to the left very much at all, and you'll feel an extra intense level of stretch happening on the back of your right hip. Again, if we feel the leg going numb or tingly, or you're like, yep, it's happening down the back of my right leg, or I can't feel my right glute anymore, then we want to ease up. So just relax on some of that, the pulling up. Just ease up some on that stretch because we don't want the leg to go numb or tingly. Let's try it on the other side. And just for demo purposes, I won't have you hold this one for as long because again, we're just kind of workshopping our way through this. But notice, is your left hip, does it feel any different than your right? Mine feel about the same. All right, so now I'm going to show you a little bit more of an intense way to do this. So you're going to set up the same way. So let's cross our right ankle across the left thigh. Now, instead of lifting this top leg up, we're going to take our hands and reach behind our left thigh, and we're going to pull everything up. We're pulling everything up towards our chest. There we go. So again, once you have everything pulled up, if you're like, I think I could take a little bit more of a stretch, just let everything kind of roll to the left a little bit. And again, you won't have to go very far, and you'll feel a more intense stretch on the back of your right hip. For an even more intense stretch, so let's see, you pull everything up, you've allowed it to fall a little bit to the left, and you're like, yep, there it is. If you want to level it up a little more, take your right arm or your right elbow and just push that right leg away from you a little bit. So right now I'm just pushing it away away from me a little bit, and that's an even deeper level of stretch. And it's like, ooh, but it's like it hurts so good. The hip needs this. All right, and go ahead and relax, and let's try the other side. So we're going to reach behind the right thigh this time and pull everything up. And once we're all the way up here, it's like, all right, if I want to level it up a little bit more, I can let things fall to the right a little. All right, there we go. And then if I want to feel it a little bit more deeply still, you can push your left leg away, just kind of using that left elbow or left arm to just kind of push it away a little bit. And then you'll feel a little bit more of an intense stretch. You could even make this a more dynamic stretch. So you're hanging out here, but then maybe you're taking your left elbow and pushing your left leg away a little, and then you relax. And then you push it away a little bit more, and then you relax. And you just keep doing that for like maybe 10 seconds. And then maybe you hold this for anywhere between 30 and 60 seconds. You could hold this for longer, but I've found that sometimes holding the Figure-4 stretch, even with a pillow underneath you, it just can create a lot of tension, of like uncomfortable tension in the neck muscles and like across the shoulders if you're holding it for extended periods of time. The pigeon is nice, especially if you can get down and relax, with everything on the ground, no pillows or anything, and you're not feeling a lot of tension across the neck, you can tend to hold that for a little bit longer. So those are our 2 stretches for tonight. What do you think? What do you think? I really like them. I'm a big fan. All right, any questions? I don't see any. Good. If you have any, go ahead and still comment, drop them in. I'll get to them in one way, shape, or form afterwards. And what else? So if you are looking for more low back pain relief, I've got some things for you. Go ahead and read in the description. I've got some free resources for you. I do have a quick wins for your low back or for your back guide that I put together. So it's just 7 of the top exercises that I've used with my military patients over the years. So these are both exercises and soft tissue release techniques. So soft tissue massage techniques, if you will, using different pieces of equipment. So check that out, totally free. And then if you're looking for a complete comprehensive system to help you identify, really what's behind your low back pain. What are the key physical impairments you can work on to help alleviate your low back pain? I've got my Clarify and Conquer low back pain program. I've got the link down in the description. Check it out. And subscribe for more awesome videos like this. I love these lives because it's just like, it's such a cool opportunity to, in real time workshop through some problems that, you may be having, some new exercises, answering questions, all that fun stuff. So let me know in the comments if you want to see anything else workshopped, and we'll get to it together, okay? So I hope that this was helpful, and I look forward to the next time that we can get together. Have a great night.